Greg, I was noticing a client of mine send me an attending physician restriction form the other day from Liberty Mutual, and they were asking me to assist them in having their doctor fill it out, and I was looking at it and I found it quite odd that there's no option on the form whatsoever for less than sedentary work. So basically, if you send this to your doctor, they have options of filling out whether you're able to do sedentary work, light work, medium work, heavy work, or very heavy work. But
Right.
there's no checkbox for less than sedentary, and a lot of my clients who have severe issues with their back or other things that prevent them from being able to sit for long periods of time aren't able to do sedentary work. But the Liberty Mutual form doesn't even give that option, which is, it's quite tricky for doctors to fill that out, because they usually just end up checking sedentary, and then what happens at the end of the day is the claimant gets denied because the doctor basically attests to the fact that they can do sedentary work when they really can't, but they're not giving them even the option. So my client was really upset. She said, well, why don't they give the option of less than sedentary on the form? I said, because they don't want to approve your claim.
Right. So it's misleading, and we see this on all the forms, which is why every time the client sends us the form, we basically go through it with them and tell them, hey, when you go to your doctor on a form like this, you can't have them check sedentary. They got to basically say none of the above. It's less than sedentary work.
But there's not, if you look at the form, there's not even an option for none of the above.
Right.
There's nothing. So they have to create their own line. They don't even give space for it.
Right.
So what happens when clients or claimants don't have a representation by an attorney who knows what they're doing, they just send the forms to the doctors. The doctors go, well, the closest thing to my patient is sedentary, checks it, sends it back, and Liberty will deny them for being able to do sedentary work, which is completely unreasonable and unfair. It's essentially a trick.
It's but what's interesting about this one, because also not only does it say just check sedentary, it says lifting, carrying up to 10 pounds occasionally. They define occasionally as up to 2.5 hours a day or 20 minutes per an hour, but then they say sitting over 50% of the time and standing/walking occasionally. So this one's really set up for failure.
Yeah.
Because you could sit for 2.5 hours a day total and still be considered less than sedentary, anything less than 4 hours, and then not be able to work. And this one's kind of like mixing and matching all kinds of things to basically say any doctor who checks sedentary, they're going to end up cutting off the claimant.
Right, and that's why it's so important for these people to to hire an attorney to represent them. Otherwise, you don't know as a layperson that this form is going to your physician and that your physician's filling these out. A lot of times the claimants don't even see these forms.
Yeah, I was
They go right to the doctor, straight to the insurance company. They get a denial letter and they have no idea why.
Right, which is why with all of our clients, we tell them if you need anything whatsoever on the claim, you need to go directly through our office. So send us the attending physician statement, send us the claimant statement.
Right.
Don't send to doctors, because if the doctor gets that, they're going to definitely check something that's going to end up getting denied. And how many denials have you seen where that's the case? Is that they just check the sedentary, probably a physician's assistant did it or a nurse, and then the claimant's denied.
Time after time, and then the claimant gets upset with their doctor, but essentially the doctor's not doing anything wrong.
Right.
They're just following the form, and the form is essentially, misleading, and it's misleading on
But
purpose.
it's not just Liberty Mutual. I mean, I'm
just using that as an example.
But we're seeing it with every single disability carrier.
Right. It's unfortunate, because if you don't know to hire a lawyer and the form doesn't go to the lawyer and the lawyer scrutinizes the form, a lot of people are getting denied because
Right. So I'm always reminding every client every day, look, whenever you have these forms, we got to go through them, and then we send them the last form that the doctor did, so we get a basis. And I like the clients to go in with the form as opposed to even mailing it in.
Right.
Not that we can't mail it in for them, but they need to bring it in with them. Sit there, say, doctor, here's the last form you did. Very often also, I'll fill it out for them. Basically, if it's based off the last one, the doctor just needs to sign, and they appreciate that. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as the doctor is verifying the information, we can totally fill it out. Especially with the programs with Adobe PDF now, you can have it totally typed up. Yep. Just the doctor's signature. If they want to change, then we can get it back to them. But that's the proper way to do it to avoid a denial.
Yeah, with this particular client, I filled it out. I had to write very small, and I had to make a new box that wrote less than sedentary, unable to perform sedentary job on a full-time basis. But there was no doctor that would have known to do that himself.
Right.
So that's the problem with these claims, and why people do need to get representation. to have a lawyer to manage the claim, because it's very easy to get the claim denied and just by a simple mistake from your physician.
Right. Well, our clients don't get denied for something silly like this, but this is a classic denial that we see when we do the appeals. So
Correct.
it's a good technique, and hopefully people can take something away from that to avoid denials if they're handling their own claims and just trying to figure out what they can do to be safe in avoiding a denial.
Yep, I agree.
For people watching our videos, if you have a claim with Liberty Mutual or any disability carrier, feel free to call any of our lawyers. We always offer a free consultation. We can help you anywhere in the country, and we look forward to speaking with you.